welcome to another edition of the Full Court Press. You hanging out with R. Dot. It ain't really that beautiful here in Las Vegas today. I just want to let you guys know that. If you guys listen to the show, you remember not even about 6 days ago, I was bragging about how great the weather is here in Las Vegas. The summer is here. What happened to winter? I'm text messaging everyone. Weather.com, weather stats on Las Vegas because it's 75 and sunny. Everything like that. And now today, it's 48 and windy and cold. Winter has returned. I'm so sad. No more sunny mornings. It feels good to wake up and you see sunshine. It's so windy here. Kite flying is probably a no-no. You will lose your kite. Parasailing, if there was water here, would probably be great right about this, right about this time. But I don't know, man. It's so chilly here. Woo. Got another exciting show. NBA All-Star Weekend was cracking. If you guys missed it, I know a lot of people didn't pay attention to NBA Friday night, I think it is, with the All-Star Celebrity Game. And I think the World players versus the U.S. players, like young players or first or second years. I don't know how they do it because I didn't watch it either. But I'm going to tell you, when I heard that the World team had Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, say no more. I was like, they're going to win it. And they won. And it was an easy win, too, for the World team. U.S. team, I don't know if that game means a lot to them as much as it means to the World team. But anyways, more sports. Team LeBron over Team Steph. Man, how about the KD and LeBron best friend, BFF friendship? Supposed to be competitors, foes, East versus West, Golden State versus Cleveland. I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. First, we're going to talk a little bit about, Las Vegas. They're wrapping up their high school basketball. UNLV, got a lot of talk about those guys. UNLV basketball, men's anyway. And, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights, who keep winning and winning and winning. Man, funny story, though, real quick. Because when I tell you guys it's windy out here, I really mean it's windy. Last night, I'm walking, and I was just on the phone talking to my brother. Shout out to my brother, S. and P. Thank you guys for listening. And the wind caught me off guard, and literally, I almost fell. I dropped my phone, first of all, and I almost fell. And you know what? If I would have had my papers out, because I've been in parking lots where people will have papers hanging out in their door, how you put papers in your door, right? The wind here is so bad. I've seen people open up their car door. Every paper in that door just blow out. They running across the parking lot trying to get help, trying to get all their papers. I even had to help somebody one time because I was like, man, you know what? That could be me. That could be me at any time. So I had to help. Him. But he had papers all over the place, man. It was so funny. That's how bad this went here. And when you see tumbleweeds in movies, when you see that happening, like when the tumbleweed blowing across the road in the desert, when you see that, that's real. That happens all the time right here in my own neighborhood. And I would say my neighborhood, I don't live in a rural area. It's pretty crowded, but it's rural. The tumbleweed blows. UNLV, man. We talked about Mountain West. Mountain West action coming here, Las Vegas, real soon once the tournament starts. Also, the West Coast Conference tournament, they play here too. So it'll be a lot of basketball here coming up in about 2 weeks because the NCAA basketball season, it's winding down. March Madness is almost here. You know, we at the halfway point of the NBA season. Well, a little bit over the halfway point. They got about 20-some games left. And also in hockey, the NHL got about 20-some games. And we will get a Vegas playoff game in hockey, Golden Knights at T-Mobile this year, home game. Unbelievable. For a team that started the season as an expansion team, and now, well, the odds are now 3-1 in most places. But let me tell you, they started off at 100-1. 100-1. If you just put $10 on that, boom, money. If you put $20 on that, money. But now, you can't make any money now. It's over now. And you know what? The funny thing about the Vegas Golden Knights, they might actually win it all. They might actually win it all. Nobody's seen it coming. Nobody's seen it coming. They're on a 3-game win streak right now with wins, their last 3 wins over Chicago, Edmonton, and on Saturday over Montreal. They just beat them 6-3. Damn near undefeated at home. Only lost a handful of games at home, T-Mobile. So if you're a gambler, the odds are in your favor when the Golden Knights are at home, you know, which they'll be at home today, you know, versus Anaheim tonight. So you might want to go down and make a couple bets if you're a gambler, you know. Speaking of Monday, today I'm here. Full Court Press is here every Monday. On this, even on President's Day. Some of you guys are on the grind like R. Some of you guys are at home relaxing with family. Whatever it is, just know R. will be here. And we're going to talk about sports here on the Full Court Press. We try not to get into politics. We try not to spin you either left or right. We just try to keep it sports-based. So if you tune into your TV and you see a lot of politics on your local sports networks, tune in to Full Court Press unless you want to be, you know, enticed about politics when you want to turn to your sports network. That's up to you. But anyways, like I said, tonight, Golden Knights at T-Mobile versus Anaheim. Golden Knights sitting at, I think they at 35. No, excuse me. Don't let me disrespect them like that. They're at 39, 15, and 4. Still number 1 in the power rankings. If you haven't caught a game, all the games are electric. We love it. We love it. I went to a Vegas Golden Knight game probably about 3 months ago. It was my first NHL game, first hockey experience, period. All I got to tell you is wear a light sweater, you will have a beanie, and you will have the greatest time of your life because watching hockey on TV and actually going to the games, it's a two total different experience. 2 totally different experiences. I go to a hockey game anytime. So if you got tickets to a hockey game and you don't have anyone to go with, hit your boy R. up. I'll roll. They're fun. Golden Knights. Now, on the flip side of the Golden Knights, we got to talk about UNLV in the Mountain West. You know, they're not experiencing that much of success, as much success as the Golden Knights are. But UNLV, before yesterday or Saturday's plummet, they had won 5 out of their last 6. So I will give them credit. And I did mention last week on the show that, you know, their last couple of games here, they had like 5 games left. 3 of them were on the road. road games are hard in the Mountain West. They're just hard to win. So, over the weekend, UNLV visited San Diego and played San Diego State. And they experienced why it's hard to win on the road in the Mountain West, getting plummeted 94-56. The San Diego State defense, that's what I have to give a shout out to. Their defense played very well, holding UNLV to only 38% field goal shooting. You know, that UNLV shoots pretty well. They get a lot of baskets close to the in the paint. So to hold them down to that percentage, that means San Diego State was playing very good on defense. You know, Jordan Johnson, foul trouble. He's a pure point guard, and he's our floor general. He's UNLV's floor general. If he's not on the floor, or if he can't play aggressively, then, you know, UNLV is going to have a tough time winning because he's the floor general. He went 2 for 6. Like I said, he had 4 fouls, 2 for 6 field goal shooting, 2 for 4. He only got up like 8 shots. Just wasn't a good game for him. Turnover-wise, UNLV had 19 turnovers. Obviously, they want to cut down on the turnovers, especially on the road. And definitely want to tighten up the defense. But San Diego State came into that game very, very motivated because UNLV had beat them earlier in the year. So they really was on the revenge factor, and it was really, really in their favor to win that game. Next up for UNLV is a home game versus Fresno State. That game will be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. UNLV must win that game. Like I said, right now they're battling for seeding in the Mountain West tournament. Currently, UNLV is sitting at number 4. So they get a home. Well, the tournament's here, so it's technically a UNLV home field advantage. But some of these Mountain West teams, trust me, some of these Mountain West teams travel very, very well. Real talk. They travel very well. Teams like Wyoming, Boise State, Nevada, San Diego State, and Air Force all travel well. Even Colorado State, they all travel well. So every game in the Mountain West will be tough, even in the tournament. And like I mentioned before, because of the non-conference resume of the Mountain West teams, it seems to me that the Mountain West likely get 1 or 2 teams in the big dance. And the team that wins the tournament definitely gets in. So if UNLV could turn it up in this postseason tournament, hopefully win it, they can get in, hopefully make some noise. You know, they got 2 winnable games coming up. They have 1 winnable game, which is Fresno. Then they go to New Mexico, and then they play a very, very, very well-coached, tough number 20 Nevada team who will be looking for revenge. So it doesn't get any easier for these guys. Anyways, more college basketball to look out for today. Lot of games on the slate. Oklahoma at Kansas. Oklahoma, I believe, is on a 6-game losing streak, with their last game losing to Texas. Whew. That's another game at home they lost. You know, that's number 8 in 10 games. Texas come into Oklahoma, beat them 77-66. If you saw that game, Texas played outstanding interior defense. You got to give those guys kudos, and you got to give Coach Smart for having his team ready to play that game. And I want to ask you guys this. How crazy is it? Just 2 weeks ago, we was talking about Trae Young like he was Steph Curry and he could do no wrong. These guys have lost 8 out of 10, and they have no answers. What is going on in Oklahoma? A lot of people want to know. Tune in tonight. Like I said, they play Kansas at Kansas. So it doesn't get any easier for these guys. It's just how it goes. Another good game that you guys might want to pay attention to that's coming up later on in the week. And I know I'm going to catch some slack for this, but look, everybody wants to see Duke when they play. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you hate Duke or what, but everyone likes to see Duke when they play. That's just the bottom line. I had a good chance to see them yesterday, and you know what? They played Clemson. They beat a tough Clemson game at home. That was Clemson's first loss at home this year, too. So they were probably due. I told a friend of mine, when you have teams this late in the year that are undefeated anywhere, it's probably a good time to fade those teams. Yeah, because usually they don't stay undefeated this long, very long, for a very long time. That's basically what I wanted to say. So, a lot of good games coming up. I want to get into some NBA talk because we had a good all-star game last night, you know. And when I say good, I won't say it was just more enthusiasm during the game. You could tell that guys really cared, which is all that the public really wanted to see in the first place. You know, they just want to see guys caring, basically. You know, last couple of years during the all-star games, these guys pretty much just loafing through the game. Not really trying, maybe in spurts. But for the most part, last night, it looked good. I'm not going to go as far to say that they were playing great defense. I'm not going to go that far. That's not what I'm going to say. The defense definitely was better, you know. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about how good the defense was, because this is basically what I got from the game from start to finish. As soon as the game started, I had 3 in-game announcers basically telling me this game, they're telling me this game is going to have a lot of defense. We talked to the players. Defense is engaged. Everyone's talking defense. We're going to play hard. Defense is on the mind. So just from the start, they're already massaging my brain to think, hey, I'm going to see some defense. Or let's look out for the defense. Boom. So basically during the whole game, these guys are just pointing out defensive efforts, you know. Maybe a few highlight dunks here and there. But the highlight of the game was for those guys to make sure that they point out every defensive effort, steal, guys making blocks. If you look at all the replays, I've never seen so many deflected ball replays in an all-star game in my life. And if you look at every cutscene reporter, all their reports were about defense. In the huddle, all these guys are talking about is defense. I can't believe it. The only cutscene report that was not about defense was the report about DeMar DeRozan's father being sick. Hope he gets well and hope everything works out in DeMar DeRozan's father's situation. You know, hope he gets better. But that was the only cutscene that was about anything but defense, if you remember. Everything else, defense, 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 defense. Even an announcer saying defense. Now, if you really just turn the sound off and look at the game, you would see this. And this is like the second time in a row, I believe, Mike D'Antoni has been the coach of the Western Conference. So right off the back, the first time this happened, I picked James Harden to be the MVP. Wrong, because D'Antoni is telling Harden, don't play hard. Just do enough, but don't get hurt out there and don't overexert yourself. And we just going to let you play a little bit, but don't go hard. And that's what James Harden did. You know, he didn't go too hard. He did a couple flashy moves, and that's it. This year, same thing. James Harden didn't really have a very huge impact on the game. Kind of was overshadowed a lot, and he was kind of just a non-factor in the game. I knew that. Same thing this year. So he wasn't playing any defense. He wasn't really even playing. He was just running up and down the court every now and then, getting trapped and not even caring. So, not really playing defense. I think the score kind of dictates that defense really wasn't being played. I will say that the players had more enthused and they looked more engaged in the game throughout the whole game as well. And maybe it's because they was playing for a charity. So that's cool. If that's what it takes to get guys to play, rather than, hey, guys, you guys just don't want to play because the fans of the game want to see you guys all play together and have a good game and show all your talent because they pay hella money to see you guys for 82 games a year in playoffs and have all kind of parties and buy all your merchandise and everything. You don't want to just play for that. So it's cool, whatever it takes. You know, they multi-million-dollar players. You have to give them some sort of incentive. And if charity is the incentive, then let it be charity. So I don't know if defense is the right word to use for the All-Star game yesterday. I would say the players were more engaged and they played like they cared a little bit more. But I didn't see no defense. I seen a couple of traps. I seen them throw in a zone. I seen them, get some blocks. But I guess they tried, and it was a better game than last year and the year before that. So I got to give those guys props, LeBron James, he balled out. You got to give Team LeBron the props, 148, 145. They were down pretty much the whole game. And then in the fourth quarter, those stars on Team LeBron basically just took over. That one-on-one game that I felt that Team Steph pretty much was missing, that one-on-one player. Team LeBron had them all. So in the closing moments, Team LeBron pretty much excelled. They were the ones that did it, I just hope that each year this game gets better and better because to me that there's too many great players and great athletes in this league for these games not to be competitive. So, Kevin Durant, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 30 minutes. LeBron James, 31 minutes, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. I'm going to tell you, somebody that was low-key cooking. He was cooking. And he probably, to me, should have got more burn. And this was like his third All-Star appearance. So he was amped, too. You could tell he had like that little bounce in his step. But I'm going to tell you, Dame Lillard was cooking. He was 9 for 14. He had 21 points in 21 minutes. He was hungry. D'Antoni, I don't know. You didn't see it or you didn't recognize it. You was kind of hating on Dame Lillard's shine. But he was cooking, Man, we're going to talk about, when we get back from the break, we're going to talk about this KD and LeBron thing. Is LeBron using reverse psychology on KD right now? It seems a little odd that these guys supposed to be the foes of the NBA, but we see them together, buddy, in the back of the Ubers all day. We'll be back in 30 seconds. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. You guys stay tuned and hang out with the Full Court Press. Welcome back to the Full Court Press. I'm your host, R. Dot, hanging out with the sportsandgiggles.com podcasting network, Las Vegas's top network in podcasting. You guys swing on over to the website. I know we're a little bit behind, but we're redesigning the website right now. So just bear with us. We're going to get all new content. We're going to have it laid out for you. It's going to be the bomb. Everyone's going to love it. Trust me, it's going to be super catered towards fans of basketball, NFL, NHL, Vegas, sports, everything like that. So you guys just hang on. I want to give a special shout out to the GYB, that's Girls Youth Basketball out in Henderson. They're doing their thing. They're going to start their spring season here in March. So you guys look them up on their social media at GYBLV. If you got kids, especially little girls, I think they go from ages 7 on all the way up to like 16 or 17 or something like that. Check those guys out. Great learning center for young women. Just great. Also, got to give a shout out to Hoop City. Love those guys over there. Those guys basically partner up with us all the time on different things. And also the Las Vegas Women's Basketball League. We do a lot of work with those girls as well. Now, before I left, we was talking about LeBron using reverse psychology on KD. It seems, man, it just seemed like, hey, keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. That's what it feels like this situation is. The Spurs use this tactic. From what I hear rumored around the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu, those guys use this tactic and technique all through their playing careers. Everyone tells everyone, this is the rumor I hear, those guys were just a bunch of nice guys, and they try to have fun with you and play around with you and try not to have the game so serious. All in the while, they're just killing you. They're scoring on you. They're making all the baskets, and you just think they're trying to be your buddies, but they're just really using tactics to go behind you, to butter you up, to go in for the kill at the end of the day. I feel like LeBron is kind of lightweight doing this, you know. He got the Uber interview. He got the workouts. He picks him up on the first pick. You know, I understand KD is the second best player, maybe even the best player in the NBA. But if you the best player, if it's between you and him, you pick him first. Man, I don't understand that. I just don't understand why the two best players want to play on the same team. I don't know if they do, or if I don't know if LeBron using that tactic. It just kind of feel that way, you know. And I know a lot of you guys is like, man, they just friends or whatever. But if you remember, I think the only commercial I ever seen Bird and Magic in was a McDonald's commercial, and it was years after the rivalry. Years. That commercial probably came out in the 90s, and they had all some of their best wars in the 80s, so they had got past all that already. I just don't feel like you can really go after somebody in a game, like really get after them if they're your buddy. You're going to cut them some slack, and maybe that's what LeBron is using. Befriending KD. Hey, buddy, come play on our team. Let's trap Steph. Ha, 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 ha. At the end of the day, this could backfire for KD. But you heard R. Dot already say, I don't have the Warriors making it to the finals. Everyone's like, what you smoking, R. Dot? I'm not smoking. I'm telling you right now, they're not making it. And it might be because of that reason alone. KD, listen to your boy R. Dot. Stay away from LBJ during the season, bruh. Stay away from him. He's tricking you. I seen it before. He's tricking you. Stay away. Anyways, man, R. Dot is coming up with a new business. I want you guys to check it out. It's called Uber Get Crossed Up. Now, what you do is you go ahead and call the number or look us up on the app, right? And all we're going to do is we're going to send a baller to your house, and he going to cross you up in front of your girl. That's all we're going to do. He just going to embarrass you in front of your girl because you think you a baller. So we're going to send Uber. It's called Uber Get Crossed Up. That's what we going to have. I'm just playing. Don't call that number. Anyways, the All-Star game, the slam dunk contest was excellent. I got to give those guys props. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not about dunks any longer. We all seen all the dunks already. It's just not about dunks, man. It's about the showmanship. You have to have showmanship, okay? And when Donovan Mitchell, when he put that Vince Carter throwback jersey on, he got the crowd lit. You remember, he got the crowd lit when he threw that jersey on. Now, if you look at the dunk, he didn't get nearly as high as Vince did, but it was Vince-esque, and everyone loved the dunk. And what mainly everyone loved was the showmanship. Now, I got a very, very special guest coming on my show. He's been a friend of mine for a very long time and also a very, very avid Cleveland Cavalier fan, all right? I want to get his take on the second half of the season and just some thoughts of KD and LeBron's friendship and if it's serious, if they can really, like, compete on that level, being as buddy-buddy as they are. Just want to get on the show. A friend of mine, Ayo. Ayo.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, welcome to the Full Court Press. How you doing, bro?
Man, it's an honor to be on the show. You know, I'm a regular listener. Happy to be on.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Truly appreciate that. I didn't realize all these people listen, but now that I'm getting a lot of text messages and feedback from a lot of people, I appreciate that, and, you know, I'm humbly thankful for everybody who listen. Now, man, what's up with this LeBron and KD love affair, man? What's up with the bromance? Tell me about it.
This bromance. Well, you know, if KD had a little bit more of that, I want to take that throne type of mentality, it wouldn't be a bromance. You feel me? So, you know, everything kind of falls into place. You know, you talked about KD not really having that killer instinct. That's why it didn't work out for him in OKC, and I think that's why he and LeBron get along so well, because he knows his place in the pecking order.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good right there. I never, you know, I never really put that into consideration. Maybe KD doesn't want the throne. That's why he went to Golden State.
And maybe he doesn't. And, you know, it's part of the reason why it didn't work out with Kyrie in Cleveland, because Kyrie wants to be his own man. So people, you know, that's part of the I mean, I know we're not really talking about LeBron going to LA, but can LeBron play in Kobe's shadow? You know, can he play in Magic Johnson's shadow? You know, so places where there are big images. I mean, Miami, there was really no king in Miami prior to LeBron going there. I mean, D-Wade was the man, but there was no legacy figure in Miami. So LA has tons of legacy figures, and I don't really know if KD really is aiming to knock LeBron off that mountaintop. So just a little take there.
Now, as you know, Boston, before the All-Star game, they closed the season out losing 3 in a row, 5-5 in their last 10. What do you see in the next half of the season for the Eastern Conference with Boston being at number 2 right now and Toronto holding that number 1 spot, and your beloved Cavaliers at that 3 spot?
It's going to be real interesting, man. I mean, the question to me is Toronto, because Boston, I mean, every team kind of goes through its downfalls during the season. So I think I was listening to a show last week when somebody was referencing going on vacation and putting that time in before you go on vacation, right? And having that focus.
I wonder who that was.
So I wonder who that was. So I think these guys are going to come back a little bit more focused post All-Star break. They're going to get it back together again. I mean, let's not forget Boston went down to the wire with Golden State at home. They beat them earlier in the year. They beat some pretty good teams. So, I mean, it was real, and I expect them to pick it back up. So, second half of the season, I think Boston will pick it back up, maybe ascend to the top in the East record-wise. Toronto might come back to the pack. They might go to 2 or maybe the 3 seed. I think where it gets interesting is from 4 on down, you know, with teams like Milwaukee. You know, Milwaukee's been pretty strong, too, the last 10 games and not really getting much press. So how is the bottom half of the East with Detroit and all the trades that they made, how is that going to play out?
Absolutely. Milwaukee Bucks, winners 7 out of their last 10. I was going to ask you about that. Indiana, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Miami. Which one of those teams, because right now you have, like I said, Washington, Cleveland, Boston, Toronto. Do any one of those bottom teams move up?
Man, I mean, I got so much respect for Milwaukee's talent. You know, they're getting fully healthy. You know, we didn't see Jabari Parker, Chris Middleton, and Antetokounmpo together as a combination last year, and they're getting it back together. I mean, that could be a scary trio. You add Bledsoe in the mix on paper, that's pretty scary. I don't know who wants to play that. Then you talk about Philly. They have young talent. I don't think they're ready yet. And same thing with Miami. Miami's talented, but not talented enough. But, you know, with Spoelstra, and they tend to run a lot of systems, they're going to be a hard team to beat. But the team that I look out for is Milwaukee because, you know, they're talented, they're deep, and they're hungry too. I mean, the Greek Freak looks like he's on that path to greatness, and he wants it. So that's the team I look out for in the East, man, that could pose some trouble, you know, as the second half of the season progresses.
Now, let me ask you this. Oklahoma City, they're kind of like the elephant in the room team, the X Factor team, the team that has the big question mark. Are they really for real? Because they kind of slumped their last 10 games, winning 4 out of their last 10. So are they for real, or is this just a facade?
Man, I think Oklahoma City's they're going to be a tough playoff team to knock out. So when, you know, it's best out of 7. So regular season, I don't think they're a strong regular season team. They don't retain their focus really well. But come playoffs, I think it'll be a monster to knock out. And I think that's a monster Golden State doesn't want to see. You know, they got 3 stars. They got a legitimate big man. And, you know, they're a team that's more built for the playoffs. They're athletic. So I think they're going to be a tough out. You know, in fact, I mean, a lot of people talk about Houston being the team to knock them off, to have the best chance to knock off Golden State. I actually think it's OKC.
You think they have the best shot over Houston? You think they have a better shot than Houston?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, that team wants Golden State. I think there's more of a rivalry between Oklahoma City and Golden State with the whole KD departure. Russell Westbrook I mean, that man plays hungry like he hasn't eaten ever, you know. So I think, you know, there's that whole battle between Westbrook and Steph. That team is hungry, man, and they want Golden State. I don't know if Houston wants Golden State, but I think Oklahoma City wants them.
Now, did you get the chance to watch the All-Star game last night?
I did, man. I did. I caught especially the second half of it.
What was your take on the game, just as a whole, as an event? I know the Fergie thing. I know she didn't sound too well. Let me ask you this, real quick. Comment.
Right.
NBA, mostly African American, right? Right. It's like the Black Super Bowl. I always call it the Black Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you.
Why don't the people that coordinate the event understand that? And we might not want to see Fergie do that.
I don't know what Fergie was doing. I don't know what she has been doing.
I don't know what any of those, any one of those performances was about.
Yeah, it seems like it comes back to the mighty dollar, right? I mean, I'm sure Beyonce was there kicking it during All-Star Weekend. She could have done a performance,
Easy.
Rihanna,
Beyonce, who's some male? Well, the Migos. Was that the Migos? That was the Migos up there, right?
Migos.
Okay.
Migos.
A lot of people.
Even had
Go ahead.
SZA, right? SZA's pretty hot right now.
Right
SZA
now, yes.
Performed.
Yes.
I mean,
you just have to do things like this. This is not about race, first of all. You just have to do things that make sense.
Right. Yeah, you got to cater to your audience. And unfortunately, the NBA is trying to cater to all audiences and maybe not catering to, in all cases, its core audience.
It's
right?
definitely more of an international vibe for that, I feel.
Yeah. But, one thing I do have to say out of maybe the three major sports, as critical as we are of the NBA, they do a good job of partnering with their players and tapping the African-American community better. Can it be better? Absolutely. But I think of all the leagues, the way how the league is structured, they do a better job of doing outreach to our community,
The NBA has to spend the most money marketing towards us as the Black community, period.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of all three of out of NHL, NFL, MLB, and NBA does it. But majority of their players are African American too, or Black, basically.
Yeah, and you see it too culturally from a standpoint where, you get these Bleacher Report alerts about hip hop artists who are now designing shoes. Where did that concept come from? So it's done a good job of tying in hip hop to the basketball culture, and that started way back with guys like Chris Webber and Shaq, and Shaq was like one of the first, or maybe the first, basketball player turned hip hop artist.
Successfully. Right.
Successfully.
Yeah.
I think, didn't Kobe try it too? Kobe might have tried it.
Yeah, Kobe and AI tried it, but their careers wasn't, I guess, as commercially successful as Shaq's as far as in the rap game. You know what I mean?
Right. And the NFL, we know they want nothing to do with that. They don't, so that's a whole different, I guess that's a whole different subject for a different day. But the
Absolutely.
NBA has done a good job. What Fergie was doing, though, I don't know. There could have been better choices. But, I'll give the NBA a little bit of credit. They've done a good job, embracing African-American entertainers and partnering with their own players better than any other professional sports league.
Fergie was tripping kind of, huh?
Oh, big time. I don't know, man. Was she trying to do some Stevie Wonder type stuff? I don't know what she was trying to do.
She was trying to do something. But it just didn't work out. Maybe she didn't practice it well enough, but it just didn't work out, whatever she was trying to do. I didn't like it. And I didn't really like the Pharrell get up either, the whole Michael Jackson theme. I think he kind of went a little bit too much.
Yeah, you can't do that. Not Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he should have chose a different type of way to portray Michael. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't do that.
But as a whole, though, the game itself, you think that the players show more enthusiasm, more engagement, more do you think they cared more, or was it pretty much the same, or what did you see?
You know, that's a good question, man. I've heard a lot of this morning about the game was more competitive, but I will say that every All-Star game since Magic, Bird, Isaiah, I mean, those games are pretty competitive too. So maybe it says there was a lull in competitiveness in this recent All-Star era. But to me, it seems like in every All-Star game, the last 5 minutes gets competitive. Would you agree?
Facts.
So I don't know if it was maybe the score wasn't as high and these guys tried defensively at the end a little bit more, but I would say the last 2-3 minutes of every All-Star game, if the score is close, they get competitive. And I would say it was a little bit more competitive because at the 6-minute mark, LeBron's team was down, 13 points, and they didn't want to see that lead increase. So I would say it was a little bit more competitive, yes.
Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to ask you this question that me and a couple of buddies had going around. Who do you think from the past, maybe a high draft pick, maybe didn't pan out, who do you think from the past that was a past draft bust probably could excel in today's NBA and actually be a good pick?
Oh, how far back are we going?
Let's go back to at least 1990.
That would excel. One person I would think would be a monster is Jamal Mashburn. Because Jamal had it all, man. I mean, he would be like a Draymond Green with a handle could go either way because he would play 4 in today's NBA, right? He could shoot, probably more consistent shooter. Now, this is without looking at three-point percentages, but, he was a guy that kind of floundered in the NBA. I mean, he was probably an all-star, but his game would be more tailored in today's NBA. So I think so with a guy like maybe Sharif Abdul-Rahim, who really didn't have a position, because I remember when he was at Cal, he played more ball as a 3 in the NBA that kind of made him a 4, in today's NBA, he would be a 3-4, maybe even a 5, depending on how small they wanted to play. So those are some guys that come to mind that would excel in today's NBA that were all-star or borderline all-star players, but would really take their game to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamal Mashburn is a great example because that guy had a monster college career. My guy was similar to Jamal Mashburn. I said that he was a good player back then, but I think in today's NBA he would be like a superstar. And my guy was Glenn Rice.
Oh yeah. I mean, Glenn Rice, man, he could just shoot that ball, And I mean, I don't know if he would be a 3-and-D guy like a Klay Thompson, but oh yeah, if Glenn Rice played today, he would be killing it. Another guy that comes to mind too is what about Big Dog, Glenn Robinson?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh wow, yeah. Any guy who pretty much had that offensive game where they can shoot from anywhere on the court, to me, in today's game would just excel as long as they had the heart and desire. And I got to tell you, you got to be in shape to run today, though. You got to be in shape. You can't be lazy because your game at the end of the day, it's going to show if you're not in shape. You're going to wind down in the playoffs.
Right. Another thing too, man, they talk a lot about the physicality of the NBA, like in the 90s, which I don't know if the physicality in the 90s was as physical as the physicality in the 80s. I listen to these guys who played in the 90s, they talk like it was the 80s, and the 80s was way more physical, in my opinion, than it was in the 90s. But I think what they tend to do in today's basketball, they understate the physicality of today's game because of the screen and roll game, right? I mean, how hard is it to run around them triple screens that Golden State sets for Steph and Klay to run around, right? And all that holding that happens in the paint. So I tend to think sometimes they mix up fighting, which is what guys like Oakley and Barkley and Mason and those guys did, to like being physical. Because when you play I think in today's NBA game, there is physicality that happens in the paint with the screens and running through the screens and the holding so, you know, the game has definitely evolved, but I think that physicality is still there.
Yeah, definitely. The game is a little bit more physical than before. I think the referees, especially now, since they're in transition period, basically with the refs. I think a lot of
Right.
times the referees now they don't know whether to let the players play or if the players want to get want a tight game. So I think that once the referees, these new guys, get some consistency, I think all around the whole game will be a lot smoother. Right now, it looks kind of raggedy. Like when you watching games, the calls are very inconsistent from quarter to quarter. And
absolutely,
if it's frustrating from a fan's point of view, it's got to be super frustrating for a player.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no consistency in calls. Yeah, I mean, that could also have to do with the turnover in officials. I mean, you're seeing a lot of newer, less established officials coming into the league now, where before you had people who had done it for like 30, 40 years. So that could play a big factor in the transitioning between officials and the consistency in how the game is called. So hopefully it's like a short-term thing and not a long-term thing. At least the NBA is trying to address it. I know they had a meeting with officials and the NBA officials union and players union had a conversation about it during All-Star weekend. So we'll see if that makes a difference come second half of the season.
Absolutely. So who do you got coming out of the East and coming out of the West?
Oh my God. Objectively speaking, I got Cleveland coming out, man. I mean, it just seems like all the chips are kind of falling into place for LeBron. He's got his mojo back, and it's not January anymore. We know about his funky Januaries, right? So, in some ways, man, I mean, we'll see, but I kind of feel like this might be one of the better teams assembled around LeBron. I'm saying that with hesitance because it's only been 2 games, right? But, he's got so many different options around him. I was watching the game, for example, when they played Oklahoma City, and I was imagining Kevin Love playing in that game, right? So Adams was killing them in that game with the offensive rebounds. But if you have a unit with Kevin Love at center, I mean, does Adams play as often because Kevin Love spreads you out, right? So the Cavs, to me, seem to be possibly in LeBron's 4 years in Cleveland, the most versatile, the deepest team that he's ever played with, which I think could be scary. Kind of, in some ways, I don't know if you remember this trade when Paul Gasol got traded to the Lakers, right? And he just fit right in. Now, they didn't win the championship that year. Boston won it, right? But you had Gasol, you had Bynum, you had Lamar Odom. They later on they added Ron Artest. So I think the versatility of Cleveland is going to put them over the top in the East.
And then who you got out the West?
Oh, golly. I got Houston coming out by default.
That's my pick.
Because
Houston.
I got Houston coming out because I think Golden State might trip up against Oklahoma City, but Houston will beat OKC.
And that's what I think. And then LeBron in Cleveland will probably be Houston. That's what I think the scenario is going to be. Right.
Easy. I mean, Oklahoma, I mean, it looks like, I think, to a certain extent, I mean, Golden State's been to the finals 3 straight years, so they're physically and mentally tired.
Super hard to do it again.
It's hard to do it, man. It's hard to do it, but I think they will get out if they meet Houston in some scenario. If Golden State can avoid Oklahoma City, I think that they'll come out the West.
Nice.
But I don't think they're avoiding Oklahoma City, right? Oklahoma City is the key. Just they want him. So I got Houston coming out because I think
you got Houston and you got Cleveland,
right,
and then you got Cleveland winning it all.
I got Cleveland winning it all, man.
Ooh, that's bold statements, and I know a lot of people gonna hit up the show now. Ooh, wee. But look, I gotta get out of here because we got like 4 minutes left, and then they're gonna cut. They're gonna cut this time out. But I wanted to thank you for calling in, man. Love hearing you talk about NBA and basketball. I love getting your perspective. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk later off the record. All right.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. Man, that's my boy Ayo from back in the day. He knows a lot about basketball. His son's playing basketball. He's raising them right. Shout out to Del Campo High School in Sacramento, and shout out to San Juan High School in Sacramento. But anyways, a lot of good stuff here on the Full Court Press. We'll be back here Thursday, same channel, different time though. Instead of 11 a.m. on Thursdays, we're here at 2 p.m. So make sure you listen to us 2 p.m. on Thursdays, 11 a.m. on Mondays. I want to try to get that afternoon crowd and that morning crowd because some of you guys can only listen in the morning and some of you guys can only listen in the afternoon. So I'm catering to both. Like I said, I'm here for you guys, not for me, just for you guys. Man. Every time I turn on ESPN or any type of sports network, all I hear right now is this LeBron James going after some Fox News host named Laura Ingraham. And I'm just like, yo, I just want to get some sports news. Can I get like some sports talk? But I guess she's in the news for criticizing LeBron James about him talking about Donald Trump in that Uber ride last night during the All-Star game. And I guess she told him to just basically be quiet, shut up, and dribble. Of course, LeBron had to talk back and say something back like he should do. I mean, he's a man. He's got to defend himself. But people, everything is not racially motivated. I don't think this lady was being racist. I think she was just talking like how probably a lot of corporate America see NBA players, and it's cool that LeBron defended himself. But I don't know if this was a racial thing. Maybe I would say maybe she's looking at him like this. If you take away all the money and fame, right? LeBron James is basically a black man with a high school education. Now, I know a lot of black men with only high school educations, and they don't make nearly the amount of money as LeBron James ever. I know black men with high school educations and college educations that don't make anywhere near LeBron James's money. But I think that's how she's basically seeing him. She's just layering him out. So I don't know if it's a racial thing or if it's just that. But let me tell you, a lot of you guys who are talking politics, y'all need to just hush because y'all don't even know the three branches of government. Basic political stuff like that. So, you know what? Learn some stuff, man. Don't think everything is racial, Like I said, kudos to LeBron. He should defend himself. But not everything is racist. All right? Anyways, thank you guys for listening to the Full Court Press. I'm R. Dot. I'll see you guys on Thursday, 2 p.m. I'd like to give a shout out to the whole SNGLV staff, this whole city of Las Vegas, all the people that helped on the show, some of my guys, Anderson Hunt, Marcus Banks, Coach Menzies. I'd like to thank all you guys, some of our partners, the Silverton Casino, the Blind Pig Las Vegas. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next Thursday, and we out.